And there is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. What? There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Hey, hey.
Bitcoin is going to zero. Zero. When it comes out, zero.
No.
Hey, hey.
Scam of a CD. You've conned people into taking a worthless currency that you create for nothing.
Can you stay categorically?
You are fake news.
It's Sparta!
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We're live. How's it going? How's it going? I got Corey here today. Yeah, I used to use Pump It Up, but then I used to get copyright strikes on my channel all the time. So I had to change it to be copyright free, and here we are. So hopefully you guys like the new intro. If you don't, well,
wow, it's more original too, man. Now it's yours, right? It's awesome.
Yeah. So it's great to have you guys on, and I see we got quite a few people in the chat. Thanks for waiting, guys. We were just setting stuff up. You know, Streamyard's now got a co-streaming feature, so we should be streaming on Money Talk with Dane as well, which is it's awesome.
And Crypto Millionaire Corey Geary. Yeah,
it looks like we're live both there.
Should be
like all the channels, guys, all the subscribes. We appreciate you. Make sure,
please,
if you're watching for me and Corey, make sure that you like and follow Money Gain Crypto. He puts out just incredible content. And if this is your first exposure to him here today, this is going to be a treat. We're in excellent hands. So this will be fun.
I appreciate it. And guys, thanks for coming on as well and coming on the platform. Yeah, I'm loving what you guys are doing as well. Like the shorts are unbelievable, Corey and Dane as well. I see you guys show all the time, so it's getting some exposure. Obviously, in the crypto space, we're still fairly small. So if you're like an influencer, it's only a few thousand subscribers, whilst, you know, Fots on Instagram seem to get like 100,000, 200,000, followers and subscribers in seconds. So we're getting there. Hopefully, bull market will pump our numbers up, and
we're a niche inside of a niche, because not only we're crypto, but then like we're niching down inside that crypto space, which is pulsechain and usually the Hex ecosystem and everything that relates to that. So it's very niche, you know.
Yeah, it is, and I think people are starting to accept it more, right? Like the sentiment is definitely changing where it comes to Hex, when it comes to kind of, I think everything that's been grown out of that, when we talk about Hedron, Icosa, when we talk about Pulse Bitcoin, Pulse Doge, the Pulse X and Pulse that's coming out, and everything that's been built on top of that, Texan token, and I can name so many, but it's growing out now.
It is. It's becoming a really robust ecosystem, and the stuff that's being built is absolutely mind-blowing. Stuff like Tetra, stuff like Power City. I mean, the stuff, it's completing the ecosystem to a point where I feel like pulsechain can give Ethereum a run for its money. It really can be the Burger King to McDonald's. I mean, and I didn't used to believe that way. I believed, it's be like another Phantom, maybe another AVAX. And now I'm really starting to believe, man, we have something special here because of the community in the building.
Well, we have, and to that point, I mean, you're launching as a relatively, mature ecosystem right out of the gates. It's interesting to listen to Buck with the PH ecosystem, and he talks about how a lot of those big guys They just they don't want to come play if there's not some of the tools in place that will interest them, that aren't good tools necessarily for retail, but are interesting, keep the game interesting for the big, more advanced guys. So right place, right time. I couldn't be more excited about being in the game now. It's exciting. If you guys aren't excited, you haven't caught the bug yet, you haven't done enough research, because gosh, there are big things coming, and we're early in the wave.
And ironically, the delay has been kind of beneficial for building stuff out. I personally believe it has been very, very beneficial for that. When you look at what's going on, I was playing around with Power City just released the Portal X swap. I don't know if you guys, the cross-chain aggregator, which is unbelievable, guys. If you have not tried it out, portalxswap.io, I believe it is, and you can be bringing stuff from the Phantom network, from from the Ethereum network. You can be switching across to pulsechain very easily, or vice versa. Maybe you want to switch out. You maybe want to go the opposite way, but it's unbelievably good. It's an aggregator that finds you the best possible route for cross-chain swaps. So highly recommend it. I'm loving that kind of stuff.
Oh, it's fun. I used it too. I have a protocol that I got into about a year and a half ago over on the BNB network. That's been awesome. It's just printed a ton of money for me. It's not done so good lately, and I've just been extracting value there to build my bags over for the ETH assets and get ready for pulsechain and get into the sacrifices. And I did the same thing. I have my traditional, use the bridge that I've always used, and then it bridge it over, and then I got a swap on Uniswap. And Portal X was dope. Yeah, it worked really seamlessly. I use that instead, and it's my go-to now for when I need to bridge stuff.
Innovation in this ecosystem is amazing. Amazing, man.
And this is what we need, right? Like, we need not only new dry powder coming into the system, but also you need stuff that's been around. Maybe you don't want your Litecoin anymore and you want to swap it across and bring that.
You don't want one of the dinosaurs?
Well, the dinosaurs, yeah. You want to bring over your gains in Bitcoin, bring it across, which is exciting. And just an easier, more efficient way to do that is totally what's needed to get more adoption, to get more people hyped up and get involved, really. So I'm excited for that. We were all, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we were all on a course this weekend in talking about liquidity pools, and shout out to Crypto Sloth and Axis Alive. Go follow those guys as well. But we were all on that. We were kind of talking about the positions for LP. How was your sentiment after the course? What was your feelings like on that, guys?
So we've done, we went down the LP rabbit hole. What, Corey, what's it been? 8 months ago, 6 months ago, something like that. And man, we thought we found this holy grail where, some days if you set your range tight enough, Corey and I both had days where you made like $5 grand, $4 grand, like in a day. It was pretty nuts. But then we were setting our ranges oftentimes so tight that the impermanent loss would eat you alive. And the next day, you lost $5 grand of the $5 grand you'd made before. It felt a lot like trading, at least how we were doing it then. The pieces that I personally, for me, what was missing was having a better strategy and a plan around how I was providing LP. And so that's what I liked about. I felt like the guys did a great job in helping explain that. And in fact, I was mentioning to you guys in the green room, I opened up an LP position this morning to try to earn some fees and acquire some more hex here in the short term. So we'll see how that goes.
And if you kind of unpeel that a little bit, Dane, if you set LP with an intention of going one way or the other, like for example, your LP, maybe you said you've kind of set it with the intention of gathering some more hex. If the price starts going down, which you will, and you'll earn some fees. But even if the price were to get away from you again, then who cares? You're just stuck with your USDC again. It's like you didn't lose because you had set it with an intention of one way or the other. Now, obviously, if it were to drop drastically below your LP, which I don't anticipate it doing, so the other intention would be like if you want to set it for. If you want to start exiting out a hex position, so you're setting up your hex above, and you want to earn some fees while you're exiting out, you're setting with that intention so that a permanent loss is not. There is no impermanent loss because you're setting it with an intention. And then if you want you just set it for passive income. What I really learned about the Axis and Crypto Sloth course was that if you just want to set up for passive income for long term, you need to have long term mindset, and you need to set it very wide to allow it to do what it's supposed to do. Right? We were very narrow focused in our LP.
Oh, it was so tight, those
We were
ranges.
making it real tight so we could try to earn as much money as
As
possible.
much fees as possible.
You would slip out the next. You wake up from you're sleeping the night before. You'd slip out and you'd lose like $2,000 or $3,000. You're like, what the hell happened there? And so it's just it's all about mindset on how to play that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it if you can provide and you're happy with either scenario. So my bag I'm playing
Correct.
around with an LP right now is my bag that ideally, I'm hoping to either I gain some more hex because I think we'll see a nice run into mainnet. Maybe I'm wrong, and if I am, that's all right. I'm all right getting the copies over on pulsechain, and I'm cool with getting my copies of hex. If I'm right, this is my bag that I'm, if I go to USDC on the upside, well, this is my USDC bag-ish, if you will, of capital that I was hoping to bring in and bridge in anyways to pulsechain. And so it kind of works either way for what my goals are with this bag. And so I set it up accordingly, and it's fun to figure out.
Yep. And that's the mindset right there that we learned out of that. At least I learned out of the weekend. And so it was really cool, man. I want to keep learning as much as possible and growing in this ecosystem because that's what's going to make us successful long term.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is that when there is significant time frames of sideways action, making unbelievable yield, making some really nice dollar figure, to help you out, whether that be in either two positions. If you're comfortable with those two asset classes, whatever it is, maybe you're doing USDC hex pair or whatever it is, when it moves either way, you'll get more of one or the other, but you're still getting two of the things that you want. And that's really the benefit of it. It's just like it was explained really beautifully by Axis and Crypto Sloth. So I highly recommend, and go check that out. I know they're going to be running similar workshops, seminars as well. So go check them out as well.
I'll tell you one of my favorite parts is if you have a really long-term mindset and you know where the market cycle is going, you could place a liquidity position out there with the knowledge of knowing that we should have like an 80-90% dip. And that one huge, massive giga whale in the Hex ecosystem placed out that position for 700 days and earned $2 million in fees because he had the patience and he knew where the market was going, right? He knew the market cycle. And so he anticipated it going there. He placed it there and he sat it and forgot about it. And then he come back in 700 days and he's $2 million richer. I was like, oh my God, what a great strategy.
And to add perspective, he doubled his bag essentially by doing that over that time frame that it was in range. So he doubled his bag and the fees that he earned. That was pretty remarkable.
It was. And it's just being patient and playing the market cycles, what we already know to be true.
Now, do you guys know? So I've been playing around with the PulseX farms, and so of course, like the numbers aren't there, or the numbers that are there as far as USD are not accurate, or I shouldn't say they're not accurate. It's all testnet, right? It's just fake, so we get that.
Sure.
But I think that I was doing the math in such a way where it shows your earned fees in USD, and then it shows your ink token. I was under the impression that the USD value it was showing you there, it was showing your fees between what you had earned plus the USD value of the ink token. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't think I think the ink token, I mean, we know the ink token is like a cherry on top. We are earning it in addition to the fees. I don't think that it's calculating that into the USD, which is cool because that's a massive additional bonus to my farms that I've created in the test net. Do you guys know?
I don't.
So the third token, it's money.
Yeah. So I was told, but don't hold me to it, but yeah, it is a kind of additional bonus, particularly if you're providing double-sided staking. So you'd be getting the ink token.
Yeah, it should be a complete bonus on top
on
of
top,
whatever
yes,
yield
of
that
what
you're earning.
extra
Right.
cream, as per se.
Right.
Yeah. So with
Yeah.
Corey's example with the whale that was providing LP that doubled his bag. I mean, imagine doubling your bag in fees plus earning a third token on top of all that. Like, it gets pretty juicy. Now, of course, like, you know, I'm sure Money Gang is on board with us here. We're like, none of this is financial advice, right? You got to go do your own due diligence.
We're just dudes on the internet.
Yeah, none of this is actionable information. You've got to go and make your own financial decisions. It's just interesting to evaluate the different opportunities and have, you know, you can divide up your bag where you have different strategies for your bag. You don't have to just buy and hold forever and that be the only thing that you do. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can have short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategies. And I get that a lot of people have their staking ladders and they want to be earning yield like that. But I was saying to guys, like, if you're looking for something that's, for example, you're going to get decent yield quite quickly. Well, I was saying, well, maybe you want to put a portion of your bag into ICOSA, for example, because the yields are unbelievable on ICOSA right now. And we're in a kind of hyperinflationary environment where that's going to happen. That's not going to last for a long period of time. And I guess kind of the hex method, the hex way would be, well, no, native stake it and sit on it for the next 15 years. I'm not hating on that, but at the same time, you know, life is a long period of time, and 15 years is a long period of time as well. So yeah, have
you
that,
could be
and also
dead
have
before the 15 years come. Like, life is
fingers
short.
crossed, no, but yeah,
You know,
I see what you're saying.
So to your point, yeah, multiple strategies could be beneficial.
100%. You know, having a short-term, medium-term, and long-term strategy, and also thinking about the next bull run, thinking about the next bull run after that. I mean, I'm getting excited for the next bear run, which is crazy to say. I was just thinking, man, oh damn, if I can put more in, you know, like, and then have, you know, maybe some stables earning yield, and then, you know, LPing, and then having that 90% or 80% plus drop off, and then how much is going to go up into the next bull run is like, wow, I get excited for future projection, you know.
Oh yeah, the timing of being in the market right now, and especially I was talking, Corey and I have talked about this a lot off screen. I mean, it was frankly kind of a blessing of getting in near. Well, we've been in crypto a little bit longer than that, but you know, really trying to start getting a grasp on things near the top of the last cycle. It's given us a year and a half to be able to prep for this bull run and also figure out how we would approach the next bear. And man, like we talk, you know, if you don't have a plan, right? How's the saying go? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail, type of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just feel blessed. Excellent timing for all this.
And the amazing thing is ever changing, ever evolving, you know. When we look at like what's been built out and what's been growing, as we talked about the ecosystem growing so significantly. And yes, it's a lot of information to process, but if you become obsessed with this and you become excited about it, you're really setting yourself up for in the next 5-10 years. You know, you're going to be in a good place and in a good position and doing way better than most of the world right now, right? Like everything's down, as per se. It's been difficult for a lot of people. Yeah, if you haven't got your toes in the real estate market, you haven't got your own business, or you haven't got stuff going for you, then I know a lot of guys who are struggling paycheck to paycheck. So it's really important that you get this game nailed
we were
down.
kind of talking about that a little bit before in the green room, and that's one narrative that, you know, I really don't like that's in the crypto space and even in the hex spaces. Everyone talks about, I was talking about this with RG3 the other night on a Friday night hangout, and he was talking about how everyone should go to college and you should basically work a 9 to 5. And I just don't see how that can basically bring wealth into your life, period. I mean, you need a lottery ticket at that point to try to obtain legacy wealth. And not every crypto is going to do a 10,000x, and not every crypto is going to do 100,000x or 1,000,000x. I mean, what is it, Dame? 4 cryptos have done that in the history of crypto, and then pulsechain, pulsex can do it. I get it, but I don't think that's a narrative that we need to be talking about and preaching. We need to teach people, hey, Go out there, be entrepreneurs, create value in life. That way you can receive value. Go buy some real estate if you've never done it before. Flip some houses. Me and Dane have built our business up in the last, over 8 years time span, flipping houses. And that's how we built our wealth up, where now we've had the means to go in heavy with crypto. But if I went for flipping houses, there was no way we could have done that, what we have done, and created the positions that we have created. It's not because we worked a 9-to-5 job, though.
No.
Oh,
Well, seriously,
100%.
how many bull runs do you need? Like we can extrapolate out the math. Let's say that like you have, and this is a lot for a lot of people. So if this is you, this, I think it's just good to look at math. So say that you're able to carve out like 10 grand, right? You put in 10 grand into the crypto market over the next couple of years. I think that's a lot of money for a lot of people, right? Especially if you're working a job, like carving out 10 racks, it's a lot of money. So you put 10 grand over the next, and let's say you dollar cost averaged in over the next couple of years, right? And let's just use easy math and somewhat conservative in the Hex ecosystem anyways. 10 grand, call it 100x, right? That's $1 million. And man, like if you haven't experienced, money can go fast, especially if you're running a business. I mean, when Corey and I were running our real estate businesses, you go make a rip. I mean, you could go make 6 figures in a month, and all of a sudden, like it was gone.
My overhead was over $1 million a year.
Yeah, your overhead's so high, and you're doing different things. But let's just run with it. Let's say, okay, now you made a meal, right? Let's say you want to go spend some of it. You made a meal. Let's say you go spend like, I don't know, call it half of it, right? Say you had 500 racks.
What about taxes, Dane?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Go back. That's a whole nother.
No, take out taxes. So let's say 30% in taxes. I think that's low. I think it'd be more, about 30%. So now you're at 700. So say now you want to spend half of that. Now you're at 350. And now you've got 350 left. A lot of people want to quit their job when they make a meal. Well, that 350, are you going to go live on that for the bear market? Now you're out of capital, But let's say you kept the 350. Now you go put that into crypto. You get another 100x. And 100x's don't come every day. I think a lot of people in Hex have been, frankly, spoiled. And everybody's talked about the next 10,000x. It's just not. That's just very rare statistically for Richard Hart to repeat on a 10,000x another time or another 2 times with pulsechain and pulsex. Statistically, it's almost zero. It's almost 0% chance that he does that, if we just look at the crypto space in general. Now, none of us are here because we think that Richard Hart has almost a 0% chance to repeat, right? We think Richard is the GOAT. That's why we're here. But I mean, it's going to take you a good solid 8 years at least. Yeah. And that's managing it perfectly or managing it very well. And most people, they hit a mill and it's like, it's cocaine and hookers for them. And it goes so fast, and it's unfortunate. To Corey's point, it makes a lot of sense to figure out skills that you enjoy, that you can make a lot of money, to the best of your ability outside of your life, and then build your bags.
And I got news for you, man. $1 million doesn't change my life.
No,
it doesn't. It don't do hardly anything for me. Like 10 million rarely. 10 million does a little bit for me. That I guess where it starts to get interesting. But even there, it's like, okay, like I mean, I know this is crazy, but 100 million is where it really starts to get interesting for me. So
this is the thing. I mean, a mill can get blasted quite quick, right? Like you hear about these kind of overnight millionaires, maybe lottery ticket winners, stuff like that. They don't put some sort of structure behind them. They don't have some sort of business or anything that's going to keep the income coming in, something that's going to give them, whether that's real estate portfolio or something like that. And then you hear about them going broke very, very quickly. They're spending it all, and they're not managing their money very well. And you have to have these entrepreneurship, you have to have real estate in that, you have to diversify as well when you have the money, right? Like I think that a lot of people, they don't diversify. They think that they're worth 20 million when they're only worth 1 million, and start spending like they're worth 20 million, and next thing you know, they're done. You know. You hear about NFL players going broke all
You
the
hear
time,
it all
right?
the time. Yeah.
And footballers as well in the UK, like soccer players are really is a big one. I knew a couple that didn't manage their money well, and they end up working
Cocaine and
again.
hookers,
So
like Dane said.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's
Exactly that.
unfortunate.
But what's
I laugh
interesting,
because that used to be me back in the day, my 20s and 30s. I was horrible, man.
Live and you learn.
this is coming from a guy who's got experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I laugh on that so much, because that was always my model when I was my 20s, man. Cocaine and hookers.
Well, and I think, and I mean, we're all kind of talking about the same thing, where I think mindset is everything. I found it really interesting when we came to the crypto space and people talked about sudden wealth syndrome and that being a big issue. And I was like, well, bless me with that problem. I'd love to figure that one out. And it's interesting because like, since Corey and I have both been entrepreneurs for 8+ years at this point, and over that time frame, to be an entrepreneur, to be half good at anything, you tend to have to become the best version of yourself.
It does. Forces you to
And
grow.
yeah, and part of that or a big part of that is your mindset. I've been a $100 million billion person in my mind for years now. Corey too. And it's cool because once you can gain a mindset where you're already that person, those results are already done, they're already achieved, you're just waiting for the universe to manifest it in your life, then like the pieces can come together for you somewhat naturally. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, right? And everything is just like, that it comes to everybody like that. But gosh, I think crypto's the same, where you got to prep yourself, read the books, spend the time, go to the workshops, so that you don't fumble the pass when it comes to your crypto bags. Did you guys see the tweet with the Ethereum guy that had got like 1,000 ETH like 6 years ago? Hadn't done anything the whole time. He just held it, right?
No NFTs, no nothing. He was not a DJ.
Clicked on the wrong airdrop. Connected his wallet, poof, it's all gone.
Yeah, he did it on a very common scam too, like send me your ETH, I'll send you this much back. That you see that all the time everywhere in the crypto space, that scam on social media, it's everywhere. And man, yeah, that's just crazy. What's 1,000 ETH worth today? It's like 2 million.
We were at what, 2,000 right now, so
no, it's at 20.
So times that by 2,000. You're looking at 2 mil.
2 million. Yeah.
Boom.
2 million.
Like that.
My mindset and becoming a high level operator, becoming the best at whatever it is that you're spending your time at, man, there's just no better combination.
And something to talk about with money, and just I want to touch on this before we kind of move on, is money doesn't make you happy or sad. Money, what it does, and this is very important to understand, it just amplifies the person you already are. So if you're an amazing, awesome person and you want to do good in the world, money is only going to amplify that for you and facilitate that for you in your life. Or if you're the opposite and you have problems in your life and you have family problems, you got problems with depression, you have problems, whatever it may be, if you get a lot of money, it's only going to amplify that. And that's why a lot of people, they end up losing that wealth, because it amplifies them into the person that becomes destructive. And so you have to kind of figure some things out within yourself and have some growth before the wealth is able to come, because otherwise you're going to lose the wealth.
Right.
And so it's very important. You become an amplified version of yourself with money.
For sure. And Corey, D Existentialist, I think he's asking you a question. He says, how many millions would you recommend to have for cocaine and hookers to be okay?
Not millions. Let's scale it back. I'm glad I went through the phase in my life when I didn't have millions, when I was participating in those type of debauchery. I was only making, I don't know, maybe 40 grand a year or whatever, and so like I was able to get that out of my system when I had a lot less money and before I experienced my growth in life, which was from entrepreneurship. And so ideally, if you want cocaine and hookers, do it while you're broke. Don't do it while you're rich, because that's when it's going to destroy you.
Life, words to live by.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Get out of your
Yeah.
system now before you have money.
One of the things I wanted to touch on as well, Corey, you were talking about entrepreneurship being so important as well. And one of the things that I think a lot of people are not really thinking about, okay, we're thinking about the X's, the returns on the next bull run, the next bear run. But actually, what are you building out in the crypto space itself, right? It's a very new, relatively new part of life now, right? Like it's a brand new niche that's been, we had Bitcoin 14 years, but you look at Ethereum, it's 2015 when it first got released. We're still in a very new niche, and there's going to be a lot of jobs that come out of that as well. There's going to be a lot of services that need to be produced from that. I can 100% see businesses where, hey, you want to create your own cryptocurrency, we do that service for you. We get someone to code it for you. Or you want to build something within the crypto space on the blockchain, we can do that as a service to you that a lot of companies may want to use. So it's one of those things where it's a brand new niche. There's going to be many jobs that come out of it, and thinking kind of laterally as well, not just about the gains that you're making, about how you can provide value in the crypto space to the
100%.
ecosystem.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Take your entrepreneur mindset, and point it towards this ecosystem. That's what kind of, me and Dane have been doing that a little bit with we have a group where we're teaching real estate guys and entrepreneurs how to onboard in the crypto the right way, the safe way. We're being a node validator for pulsechain. That is providing value to the ecosystem. So it's like how we were talking about earlier with the LP position. When you're LPing, you're providing value to the ecosystem because you're putting up your assets for other people to use, and you get paid for supplying that value. And so, or building an ecosystem. Like, look at Tetra, man. Tetra is probably one of the most innovative things I've seen on blockchain, and that's going to add tremendous value when he pulls that off. Tremendous value to the ecosystem. And so, there's so many opportunities to provide value to crypto versus, just like you said earlier, wait for number go up. You don't need to wait for number go up. Number go up is nice. I get it. But there's other ways to exchange value.
And if you're waiting those 8 years, right? Let's say you do another two big cycles to get that X return you want. Maybe it's 1,000X or whatever. Maybe it's a case where, you've got a long ass 8 years there, right? You've got a lot of time to reskill, to sit and think, to provide something. And I'm not hating on the guys who are really like, well, knuckle down and get a job and go get a degree and stuff like that. But you're in a brand new ecosystem. You're in a brand new, the innovation is really important. And you can bring value that way. Like, I really think it's important.
I think it's going to be explosive as it really flowers, right? Where it really blooms out to its full potential. There's going to be so much opportunity inside this space if you're just willing to give. Yep.
Yeah. And I see a few comments.
I think it's so important how you frame things. I think we're like beating the horse to death here, but gosh, like Corey and my life have been changed astronomically from the venture of like going out and trying to provide value to the world by being entrepreneurs, and anybody can do it. If I were to go back, so I went and got an advanced degree, and a lot of people that I went to school with, they will do that same thing forever because they feel so tied to it because they spent the time and energy, right? And I think it's unfortunate. There's a time to pivot. There's a time to change. And if you have it in your heart to go do something different or bigger or more, then like go take a chance. You can always make more money. I promise you can always make more money. You can lose some along the way, but gosh, like you can always make more money. And like we were talking about before, like waiting 15 years or 8 years is too long. You could be dead in that time. You could get hit by a bus. You could get cancer. Your family could be depending upon you in that time frame, and you're sitting here on your laurels saying, "Oh well, we've just got to wait longer." Well, no, there's so many opportunities to go change your life today.
Boom.
Well, then go build your bags and change your life today at the same time. If I were to do it over again, I would have taken all the money I spent on school. I probably would have worked for free for a year. I would have found somebody that was already successful in what I wanted to do, and I would do everything in my power to provide value until they couldn't leave me alone to bring me on to teach me the skills I learned. It's not that difficult if you're willing to spend the time. And if you frame it in such a way where literally you could go learn yourself a $10 million skill set. Well, could you work for a year to go and figure that out? Like, you're not going to learn that at school, I promise. Can you go find somebody? So once again, beating a horse to death, but gosh, opportunities of a lifetime right now. There are so many ways to make money. I don't care what the economy is doing. I don't care who's being voted into office. There has never been a bigger opportunity to change your life and make money in the world than there is today. And everybody has a skill set that they could provide value and make way more money than you probably already are. You just have to apply yourself and figure it out.
And wasn't that the point of going to like university or whatever? Is the idea that you're learning information, you should be learning information, upskilling yourself and learning kind of new fields and get involved. And I feel like so many people go in through the education route and then they stop learning, right? Like they end up, okay, I've done my 4 years now. I got a comfortable Christian 9-to-5 job. Now I don't need to I've completed it, right? I ticked the box, got the degree. There we are. Let's get a nice comfy 9-to-5. But the truth is, those who decide to keep upskilling, keep moving in, educating themselves in new fields, like we talk about AI, we talk about crypto, we talk about things of that nature. The ones that are going to get ahead and do well is the ones that know loads about it, that are switched on with it and learning and upskilling themselves in those fields. And so I think it's just really sheer laziness not to get into newer fields and understand it and try and really dig yourself in there and get in there. So it's one of those things. I'm not hating on guys who are, I've done the university degree thing, but what I do now is completely different to what my degree is in. So it was pointless really at the end of it.
And I bet you're having a lot more fun doing it too. You're having a much time.
yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things where it's unnecessarily expensive as well, with the amount of money that people pour in. I'm thinking about family members who are becoming doctors and what they're getting as a junior doctor in the first couple of years compared to the amount of debt that they have. The ratio is really, really off, and you can tell that Visa and MasterCard are going to be, and American Express are going to be knocking on her door and saying, well, we can give you a nice big credit card limit and make you spend, because you've been in education for 8-9 years. Hey, don't you want to spend? You're going to get a fat paycheck down the line when you specialize, and we want you on the kind of debt train straight away. So it's interesting, really interesting to see.
It's a beautiful business model. Can you imagine being the government telling everybody to go get a safe job, funding it all through money you can print into oblivion? And then schools that can charge massive amount. Like, it's really unfortunate. I mean, it'd be great to be on that side of things. You'd be making obscene amounts of money as a university, but yeah, it's a broken system. And it's your choice as an individual to change your life or not.
Yep. We all have the power to do it. I'm living proof of it. I promise you, if I can do it, oh my God. Telling you, the shit show I was, anyone can do it.
I see quite a few comments, so I'm going to address some. Apart from the ones from Red Squirrel, he can piss off.
Tell me this Tetra thing.
Yeah, no, definitely not going to tell you about Tetra. No, heads up to the Tetra guys. I think they just done the airdrop as well. So shout out to Stu and all the guys from that. Really, really, really good protocol. Highly recommend it. If you're into automation, I mean, there's some influencers in the space that aren't into automation for some reason, but okay. MedJ jumping in, Crypto Sloth as well. Shout out to you. Atlantine as well. We'll skip Red Squirrel. Oak Heart's coming in. Kaiser as well. Finally, some quality content. BTFD. UFO to go in the stream as well. Let's have a look. If I had the dry powder, I'd use a portion to buy some ICOSA. Good stuff. Taxes. What are taxes? Liquid Pop, Eric.
We're
coming
not
in
going
as
to know
well.
taxes either in 2024. Not the way
Yeah.
we're playing our cards.
Well, this is it, right? Like it's coming back to that. Like when you get into that stage where you're earning significant amounts of money, it's like what is it? Death and taxes and probably women that will take it off you. So you need to be kind of cautious with those
What does
things.
Richard say? Liquor, leverage, and what is it?
Ladies.
Ladies, liquor, and leverage.
Ladies, liquor leverage, yeah. Body mechanic saying, "Can I tap a mil?" Yeah, I hear that. How many millions would you recommend for the cocaine and hookers? Hex Glenn in the chat.
That one.
Alberto coming in as
What up,
well.
Alberto?
Alberto's in our group.
Paul made a good point. Guess I'll be the pleb in the room to say $1 million does change my life. No, I don't quit working, but no, that is a milestone. Yeah, 100%.
I agree with that, Paul Sex. Yes. But it's not the end game. It's far from the end game. I can blow $1 million in a day if I want.
Oh, easy.
Oh,
Easy.
particularly in the States. I mean, it's quite beneficial if you take that to another country, and we'll talk about that in a
Sure.
bit.
Move to Thailand, Philippines, hang out there for you could live off $1 million for the rest of your life, you know.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, and I'll be the contrarian here. Like whether $1 million, and Corey says that facetiously, right?
I
Like,
do.
Yeah, well, sure. We'd love another million. Like that'd be great. Certainly. Could we put some dents in some things? Absolutely. But $1 million is not, certainly in the States. How long are you going to live on $1 million? Like I promise you, if you made $1 million, you are not going to want to stick around on, whatever you may be making, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100 grand a year. Like you are not going to want to stay there, and the money can go very quickly. And even if it's not about lifestyle, like think about impact. What impact do you want to have on the world? Do you want to change your loved ones' lives? Do you want to change your friends' lives? Do you want to donate to your church if you have one, or charity, or feed the homeless? Or there's a million things where I would argue and say, whether you believe in God or the universe or higher power, they need you to make a bigger impact. And the fact that you have the opportunity to be here when we are right now is part of that plan. I really feel that, like down to my core. I feel like we're here to be able to build wealth, to make a positive impact on the world. And man, like now's the time. So we're with you. $1 million will be great. I think
one of my greatest fears is passing, and whether you, like you said, believe in God and universe. I believe in God. Passing and being in front of God, and not living to my highest expectation. Be like, yeah, hey God, I did this, that, and the other, and I made $100 million. Well, hey, you could have been the president of the United States. You could have changed this country over here to stop war over, or whatever it may be. What your full potential is. And that's one of my greatest fears is, standing against the big man one day and be like, yeah, I didn't do enough, with this gift of life that is given us right now to create a massive difference, to literally create ripples out into the universe from what we are doing. So it's a fear, but it's a good one.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. I was saying to these guys in the green room, like I've just come back from Cuba, and the actual realities of that. I mean, if you're in a Western country and you have the opportunity to work and you've got your health, you're 10 steps ahead than most of the world.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
The reality was kind of daunting. It was quite crazy. Sometimes I'd be talking to servers, I'd be talking to people on the street and stuff, and they were quite careful and cautious what to say. But when you start to get them to open up, like surgeons are on 48,000 pesos, which the equivalent, and I've got it just on here, 48,000 pesos is about $282 per year. Like, and we're talking about the lifestyle cost. It was less, but it wasn't that much less than being in, say, London or being in the States as well. The taxi costs were almost the same as being in London. Servers said they got good money at 1,000 pesos per week, right? And that over a year's time is about $1,000, $1,223 per year. So you're in a very lucky opportunity when they're doing 16-hour days, 2 on, 2 off, 70% plus tax of the realities. And this was the wealth, the cost of living, and they wanted, a lot of them wanted to get out, right? That was the reality for them, was I want to get out. I can't live here. I can't survive here. I'm rationing out how much money I'm making. And so when we talk about it, particularly if you're in the States, or particularly if you're in the UK, or if you're in other places like that, it's a different ballgame. You're lucky to be where you live. You're lucky to be in the place that you are, and you have an opportunity. If you're healthy, if you're fit, you go out and make something happen, and you can impact those cultures as well. You can impact people around the world. You're so lucky, and it was really insane. It was very, very poor, very, very third world. Some beautiful sites, but all the money's going up to the government, right? Like, all the money is going to the to the people in power, and it's never going to the people that need it the most. So it was very very humbling to be out there. So you want to be making that happen, and in a bear market, in a bull market, in times of good and times of bad.
Yeah. And talking about optionality too, like, can you get enough money so that, God forbid, if you guys haven't read, in fact, let me pull this out. This is an excellent book. So here it is, When Money Destroys Nations. Excellent book. This is about the how hyperinflation destroyed Zimbabwe. They were a really, up and coming, if you will, country decades ago, and essentially they printed their way into poverty, and how the government managed their money. I know there's a lot of fear right now with potential hyperinflation and things of that nature, depending upon where you live. Well, I can promise you that if things got bad enough where I live, I'm hoping that I have enough money to have the optionality to go elsewhere. I'm not going to sit through that. I'll go elsewhere, and I'll take my family too. Once again, it's about impact. Like, can I take my family and friends to a safe haven if that time arises? Can you buy food storage or weapons and ammo if there's a crisis? There's so many things beyond lifestyle here, and you can make a huge dent and impact in your life.
Yep.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And it's one of those things is where you're moving your lifestyle to where you want it to be. You don't have to be in the place that you were born in, and you can bring that wealth and move it somewhere else and live a better lifestyle if that's what you want. Some people don't.
You don't have to play the hand you're dealt. You can actually improve the hand you're dealt. It's up to you. Your life is in your control. You create your life all through your thoughts. If you guys haven't read a couple good books, is like Think and Go Rich by Napoleon Hill. Another one is Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. These books have really taught me the right mindset that you need to have to be an entrepreneur and to grow in your life mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially. Those are my 4 pillars that I'm always working on growing. And so if you focus on spiritual, physical, and mental, especially the mental part, the financial comes. The financial comes. So
100%.
Yeah.
What do you think, guys? pulsechain let's talk a little bit about pulsechain and what's going on with that. pulsechain version 4.
This week, I'm calling it.
This week. Yeah.
This week I'm calling it, because private testnet is running in the background. Richard already said it on Twitter. It's just a matter of him figuring a couple more things out, and then we'll have it this week. I don't know if it's gonna do much for the hex price. It seems like we've the hex price has kind of been beaten with a dead horse, like that saying. It's just kind of, I don't know if it's gonna do. It might get a little more. We might get another pump, a small pump out of it, but I don't know if it's gonna do much. I don't know.
I think until we hear a mainnet announcement, and I don't know how Richard's going to do it, but I actually do think he's going to say it outright, and maybe give us a couple of weeks, maybe. But we'll see. Maybe you just.
Oh, if he gave us a couple of weeks, man, we're off the races.
Yeah.
Hex is 20 cents, right? Like, Hex is probably going to skyrocket, because you'll just see the liquidity being withdrawn, and that makes it a very volatile, hyper volatile environment for price appreciation and price negativity on the downside as well. But it is one of those things where people there's a mixed feeling, right? And we've got this far. Hey, it's going to happen. It's one of those things where if it happens in the next 6 months, it happens in the next 2 weeks, doesn't really matter. I don't think I think a lot of people worry about it and they get all these updates, and I could talk about updates all day long, right? Like what's new with V4, right? And that could be posting, and it would help if I got a pair of tits, and that would probably
And
get
if you,
me more
if you
likes.
knew a dev, right?
Yeah, right.
And knew a dev. And,
Ironically, I know a few devs, but that's
I know one actually. I know one.
okay.
So
I know about 4 of them, but it's one of those things where it's a little bit easier if you're a female tweeting out some updates. no shade intended, but yeah, it's one of those things where once it's mainnet, then let's get excited about it, and let's see how the excitement plays out, right? Because we're definitely going to see that initial pump excitement, and like most layer ones, right, 2-3 month mark, massive drop in price as whales and sharks and other people who first got in dump the price.
that's why I have a very strict DCA 90-day DCA plan where I'm it's based off of how many X's it launches from launch price, and that way I'm saving a large part of my bag for that dip.
And are people ready for that though? Like are people gonna get the
people are
FOMO
they're not preparing. You need to treat your crypto like your business. Write things down, create spreadsheets. Dane loves spreadsheets, right? And track stuff and go and live religiously by what your business plan is, right? I wrote out a big long, I call it the pulsechain white paper, and it's like 4 pages long of my business strategy around pulsechain, not only the launch but my hold strategy too after the launch, and so and some of the things I'll be doing, LPN and liquid loans and all the other stuff, but you need to write it down. Have a plan. Have your DCA strategy on paper or on a Excel spreadsheet and stick to it, because once pulsechain happens and all those emotions are going crazy in you and you're feeling the FOMO, you're going to forget what your plan is and you're just going to be buying green candles.
Yeah.
Chasing price.
Yeah.
That's the one.
It's going to
We had a question as well from Beyond All as well. I think this question for you guys. Is there any loopholes to use crypto gains to use for real estate investment to avoid or reduce capital gains? Yeah. Do you guys want to hit that?
Yeah, absolutely. It depends on your jurisdiction, your country, and where you live. So talk to a CPA. Neither Corey nor I are CPAs, so we can't give tax nor financial advice. I could speak to you about my own experience. I haven't paid taxes in years because I've provided a service that the government likes, and they incentivize this service by giving tax breaks. So, for instance, with my rental portfolio that I built over the last few years, I bought enough real estate that I could go and depreciate in tax terms to be able to essentially wash away my earned income. So at the end of the day, it shows that I didn't owe any taxes. And the cool thing too about that strategy is you're also bankable. So one of the problems that you find when you're an entrepreneur and you run a business is, gosh, like everyone's trying to write off everything so they don't have any taxable income. But then you're not bankable. If you show no income to save taxes, we can't go to a bank and say, well, lend me money, because they look at your taxes and they say, well, you made no money, so we can't lend you anything.
I've done that.
Yep, done that too. I learned that the hard way. But with the real estate, it's cool because if you go and you purchase, once again, I'm just talking about my experience, talk to your own CPA. But with my portfolio, when I went and bought real estate, I could show a lot of earned income, wash it away via depreciation, and still be bankable, because I go to the bank and say, look, I made this money and I got these benefits from real estate via taxes. So it's a service that you can provide and get tax incentives. There is no better way that I'm aware of to be able to mitigate taxes than purchasing real estate. And so that's how it worked in my own experience.
Or move to Puerto Rico.
I'm really excited about Puerto Rico. Yes. If you're in the United States and you haven't very seriously considered Puerto Rico and you have decent bags, I think you're missing a huge, huge opportunity.
And if you guys want to inquire a little more about this, we're going to have Identity Block on our show on Wednesday, and we're going to really dive into that topic. So,
yeah, guys, tune into that. Hexarico, man. That's
Hexarico. That's right. That is where Hexaco lives, man. I'm telling you.
Literally,
over 30 Hexicans are on that island.
It is. It's becoming a big safe haven for a lot of Americans going over, and obviously the tax rate there is unbelievable. So why not? Why not? Greetings from Puerto Rico, Robert Online, chucking it up there. So
Make sure you
yeah,
DM us, Robert. Me and Dane will be out there at the end of May, end of May, beginning of June, and so make sure you DM us. Maybe we can meet up for coffee.
Speaking of which, to my UK audience as well, May time, I'm going to be in London, and there is going to be a Hex meetup. There's a few people, there's some famous Hexicans that are going to be there. So if you're interested, DM, also get in the Telegram group t.me/moneygangcultchat. If you're in London or you're nearby, I would like to meet up with as many as possible. The last meetup was insane. Like, it was so good to meet up with the stories that I heard. So highly recommend meeting up with all of you guys as well. I've seen a few more questions coming in. Let me just check this real quick. Beyond all, I'm in the USA. My only plan is the DCA upside with price appreciation in small chunks, but I'm not decided if crypto could be a source of passive income. Real estate is another option. Puerto Rico. Yeah. 100%. I think Marbella is tax-free. I would prefer there, as I'm from the UK. Well, one of the things I'll say on this, because I can teach on this, talk on this, is, guys, we're kind of lucky in the UK to have a few little tax havens, one of which being Isle of Man, another one being Guernsey and Jersey. So maybe consider taking a 50 quid flight over and start talking there about what you need. Again, this is not financial advice. It might be something you want to look into, but if you need an address there, there are ways around getting an address there. There are ways to maybe set up a limited company over there as well. It's not too hard, and you got to remember, it's still within the UK. It's very beneficial, 0% tax on income tax as well. So that's something that you may want to consider.
You guys got your own versions of Puerto Rico.
We do. I think we were the ones who kind of started that off.
Really?
Of London back in the day. Yeah, it's a massive big tax haven. So there are ways. There are ways. But
there's always ways.
And then there's also the Dubai option, right? Like the UAE is very much, a lot of the guys I've been speaking to in the crypto space in the UK are going to think about moving across, right? With 0% on crypto, easy to purchase properties, cars, day-to-day goods, even in cryptocurrency without that middleman factor. And they're very welcoming to guys who are crypto and they're very crypto friendly. So that's another consideration, a very safe place as well, Dubai and places like that. So that's another thing. Again, not financial advice, just some suggestions from the knowledge that I've accumulated on that. So if you want to get in Telegram group, sorry, it's Money Gang Cult Chat. Money Gang Cult
Gosh,
Chat.
I messed it up.
No worries.
Will you punch it in the chat? Because our guys from our shows, I see we've got quite a few of them in here. Punch that in so they could jump in too.
Sure. Yeah. No worries as well. How much time you guys got?
I'm good for another 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. Let's have a look at the sentiment of the market right now and see what's been happening. This is something I wanted to bring up on presentation. It's so interesting how quickly things shift from bear to more bullish mentality. If we look at the fear and greed index for Bitcoin and Ethereum, in the greed mark, right? Like we were right down in that red zone there.
Like I feel like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, literally,
that's crazy.
Literally, how quickly it's gone past, and so now we're in that kind of greed factor. Did you guys think what would happen with the Ethereum Shanghai or Shapella upgrade? Did you think that we would see some negative price action at all?
I did not, because of the dev friend I know. It's Gamma. You guys know who Gamma is.
Yeah.
Gamma's he's a node validator and he does all that stuff. And he's like, no, he goes, he was anticipating that the demand for Ethereum would go up once Shanghai fork happened, because then people can feel more confident being a node validator because they would get the Ethereum back. So they would buy the Ethereum to go be a node validator and actually initiate being a node validator and locking their Ethereum up because they know they could get it back.
Nice, man. Well, how was your reaction, Dane? What was I mean, it's nice to see a little bit of price appreciation.
Oh man, it's nice to see some green candles. Yeah, I thought there was a decent chance we'd see some selling. I didn't think we'd see a big giant pullback, but I thought there was a decent chance we'd see some selling. What I found really interesting as to I think it was, so a lot of the big node validators you have, like I believe Coinbase is one of the ones that has a truckload of Ethereum locked up. And they, I found it really interesting with Coinbase when the Shanghai fork occurred. They limited people's ability to withdraw Ethereum. They couldn't go and just withdraw it and dump it. And so those guys, they have an interest in propping the market up, and that's how they felt like they should do it, whether you agree with it or not. I thought it was really interesting to see those responses. So no, I'm pleasantly surprised. I did not take any money out of the market on potential Shanghai fork news, and yeah, I feel good about that. So
over the weekend we had 19,000 BTC dump in a market order, and the market absorbed it pretty well.
It's nice. It's nice to see. Like it's a very much more bullish sentiment at the moment. Now there's obviously probably going to be more events that may change that factor, but it's exciting to see. I think the hopium's coming back a little bit. It's been a tough bear market for a lot of people, and
well, historically, this is just a time when we're gonna run sideways. We're gonna pump up for a little while, and then we'll go down, and maybe something. You get some more bearish news. It spirals down, then it pumps up again. And we're supposed to do that all year this year. Right. If we end up going and pumping up to like a 60,000 Bitcoin right now, then there's something wrong. Something there's a big buy the rumor, sell the news a bit. There's something going on that's not being exposed. And so we got to be careful with that. I don't really foresee Bitcoin pumping up much higher than this. It could hit the 40K range, I guess. And then come back down to like the 30 or the 25 range. But this is supposed to be the time for the sideways action all year. This is accumulation time.
But the Bitcoin boys say that they might see a new all-time high this year.
$1 million Bitcoin in 90 days.
Do you know what was hilarious? I was watching the Ivan on Tech stream.
I like that guy. He's funny.
I like Ivan on Tech. Yeah, he was on with a few guys. I can't remember the Bitcoin influence. One of the guys from Sweden. He always had like a background of like people going past him and stuff. He stands up on his streams, and this guy's saying, Bitcoin's going to do an all-time high this year, or it'll probably do it at the beginning of 2024. I'm like, it's not even going to hit. Like, you got your halvening coming up in May 2024, so we know historically 16 months after the halvening, 15 to 16 months is when you get your all-time high. So for you to say that, it's ridiculous. You're going to see 65K, 60.
If that happens, then the rules have changed. The rules of the game have changed, and that's when I'm going to get really scared. Because then you don't know what's on the horizon now. Like, we don't know what's going on if the rules of the game have changed. So I don't think the rules of the game have changed. These freaking Bitcoin maxis just being Bitcoin maxis, man. That's all that is.
Hey,
everyone loves a bit of hopium, man.
And you saw pulsechain launch in the next 45 days or so. Talk about a bull run. We
would have our own bull run.
Some crazy numbers.
Yeah. You could see BTC tanking down to 20,000, and we could launch pulsechain. And in our own little ecosystem, we'd have all green candles.
I mean, it could get pretty nuts.
Upwards, hopium, greenness. I mean, there's a lot of sentiment. A lot of guys are saying okay, what would be the trigger events for the next bull run? Would pulsechain be one of the major ones? I'd like to get your take on that, guys. Do you think that the pulsechain could trigger the next bull run? Anything that you've considered? I'll hit Corey first.
I have considered it now. And I used to believe no until now. My belief in the system that it's not just another AVAX or another Phantom or not just another EVM, because it's not. And the proof is in the pudding now with all the protocols being built, 170 projects launching with pulsechain. plus the full system state fork. I'm really starting to believe, like I said, it could give Ethereum a run for its money. And because of that reason, coupled with the narrative, I feel like DeFi is going to be really a place that money's going to flood to because of everything that's happened in this bear market, FTX, the banks collapsing. And it could be one of the sparks. I don't think maybe it's not the only thing that does it, but it could be one of the things that said, hey, DeFi's alive. Look at this. All these green candles over here in DeFi. DeFi is a place to put your money to get away from these centralized exchanges, to get away from the banks. And that could be one narrative, right? That starts to help spark the bull run because of that. I don't know if it's going to be the only one. Obviously, you're still got the narrative of Bitcoin halving coming in. But, it could help front run DeFi in general for sure. Absolutely, man. There's millions and millions of dollars waiting in the sidelines for this launch.
Dan, your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Corey. I think it definitely could be. So I think we have to look at Richard Hart's past history, right? Like Richard tends to be an excellent market maker, tends to be a really good marketer. He tends to.
There's rumors that he sold the Bitcoin top, but he made the Bitcoin top.
Man, I bet he made the ETH one too. Like, I think he probably was a participant in both. And so, he has the playbook with Hex already, and there's a lot of speculation around Hex launched about 6 months before the last halving. So does he wait till a fall launch? I don't know. I think that if you go back and you look at the price chart, he probably could have launched a few months prior to that and been just fine. And so, so I think that it will be a contributing factor to us being back off to the races. I think there's a lot of people that are potentially overblowing, they say oh, Vitalik is concerned about pulsechain. Well, is he? Or they say things like,
he's not yet.
I mean, in the end of the day, yeah. So yes, but I want to be not too quick to say 10,000x and we're going to go and make $1 million out of the gates. This is a game of patience. And I think that you've got to find a way to play the game where you secure your long-term bags, but you also stay interested. You know what I mean? And so if that's a little bit of yield farming over on PulseX or some of those things that keeps you interested and exciting, I think there's something to be said about that.
Yep. Well said.
No, I agree. I think it's a catalyst, but it's not going to be the main catalyst, right? There's going to be a run of events like most bull runs that kind of lead up to that, particularly that Bitcoin halving being one of them. Ethereum being, it's really becoming more and more deflationary with network use and stuff like that. That may also kind of catalyst the price, and it's been really interesting to see what happened with the Shanghai upgrade and how the price appreciation's been. So that could also be one of them. It's exciting to see when those events come together and they correlate together. It increases the momentum to move things in the right direction. So we'll see. Maybe.
And where does legislation put us this year? I know in general, right? I don't think any of us want to see legislation, but that also depending upon how it all comes together, that could be bullish for big legacy money feeling more comfortable to come into crypto. And, I think that's very likely, to be frankly. I don't think that anybody's going to be happy with how the legislation ends up falling. But I think there's going to be a lot of legacy money on the sidelines. You're going to see more like Bitcoin ETFs and things of that nature. And I think that's really coming together to have a massive 24-25.
Super cycle. So we've been saying it all year.
Right.
Super cycling. And this is the thing, the US government are kind of in a predicament, right? It's a case where they should embrace crypto, but where does that's going to be beneficial for crypto? If they don't embrace it, well, it's going to go to other countries. It's going to go to competing countries that the money will go there. So I think they're in that predicament where it's like, this thing's going to go. Do we want to be involved or not?
Yeah, make sure you guys are tuning in on Wednesday. Where ID Block is really in the know with regulations and the bills that are on, like, you know, Congress's desk and all that stuff, and the changes that we're going to see in 2024. He's got his thumb on the pulse on that, and we're going to have him on our show, and it should be good.
Good. I think it's been a great show, man. I'm really impressed with what you guys are doing, the content you're putting out, the fantastic shorts. It's great, man. So, guys, if you're coming from my side of things, please go and subscribe to Crypto Millionaires with Corey Gary and Money Talk with Dane as well. Show yourselves, guys. Tell them the links where they need to go.
Yeah, so you guys, you can come and check us out on YouTube, on Twitter. We're doing a lot of shorts on TikTok, Facebook. I mean, you can connect with us just about anywhere. You can find. I'll let Corey show himself. You can find me. Here's my link tree. You can find all my socials there. But we'd love to connect with you. We'll be out in Puerto Rico, and like Corey said, in June, if you're out there, send us a DM. We'd love to connect with you. If you need help in real estate, we're building a group where we're doing our best to be able to bridge crypto and real estate. I think a lot of you, once again, I'm not a financial advisor. I think it could be very prudent to consider real estate as part of your plan and your strategy to not get destroyed via taxes.
Especially when you're going to take profits in 2025.
Yes.
This is like
and so that's what we do. That's kind of our niche. That's the value that we hope to bring to, you know, the Richard Hart ecosystem and crypto in general, is to help people understand how adding a portion of real estate can really make a nice dent. I mean, imagine if you have $1 million tax bill you've got to go pay to your government, and instead you could put that $1 million into real estate, keep the money, buy an asset that produces passive income, and it appreciates, and you know, you could have assets instead of a bill to the government. It's a big deal. So yeah, love to connect with you guys. We're here to help. Anything that we can do, we'll do it. So reach out.
Yeah, so I'll add a little bit to that too, Dane. With the real estate stuff, you guys don't even have to be the ones out there buying the properties and doing the remodeling and fixing, you know, investing your time and putting tenants in place. We have high-level operators in our group that do this for you, and where you could park your money with them, and they're gonna create all the real estate opportunity for you. And they've been, you know, they're massive players. I mean, in our industry. So just I don't want to scare, you know, the whole real estate talk can scare people, you know, like, oh, I don't want to go out and buy 100 rental properties and put tenants in place. No, you don't. You really don't. You don't. You want to have an operator who's very good at that. Do that. But yeah, for me, guys, just find me over on YouTube, Crypto Millionaires with Corey Geary, where, you know, a lot of the same content, you know, you see what Money Talk with Dane. I do put some shorts on there sometimes. We'd love you to come in there and like and subscribe. And guys, if you're from our group, make sure to like and subscribe. Money Gang Crypto's here too. He's out here beating the drum with great content. So make sure to be following him. And then, yeah, I mean, as far as socials, the Corey Geary over on Facebook, on Instagram, and it's Corey Geary on Twitter. Come and like me on Twitter. And that's about it for me, man. I'm just glad to be here on this journey with all you guys. You guys are effing amazing. I think the Hezek community is one of the most amazing communities in crypto, and I'm blessed to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys on as well. For those of you that don't know or do know, you can find me on all platforms, Money Gang Crypto, t.me/MoneyGangCultChat as well. And actually, I'm going to be offering services as well on Patreon. So patreon.com/MoneyGangCrypto. Yeah. A lot of the questions that were coming up here, right? Like we were talking about tax havens and things of that nature. There's some things that I can touch on, that I can talk to, like specific questions that you have that we can go through, as well as like one-to-one access. We're also doing TA. We're going to be looking at multiple different things that I might not be able to share on YouTube, but I can definitely share in a private group setting. So if that's of interest, go check it out. We've got a few different tiers there, and I'm going to be offering more private stuff as well. Also, some good stuff. I'm going to be on with Westcott Crypto. We're going to do some PulseX Hopium. So I'm going to leave some of the stuff that I had. He's a cool guy, man.
And he came out this year, guns blazing, and just made, oh my God, putting so many eyeballs on our ecosystem. Westcott, you keep doing you, man. I can't wait to see you in Miami for the Hex conference. Oh my god.
Gonna be a good one. Like we'll do some big PulseX Hopium.
Yeah.
I think the last time I did a PulseX video, it got, people were a little bit like, oh, it's only, dexes have only done like 100x or 50x. Guys, there's some big hopium in regards to the buy, not the burn, the buy function. So I'm going to talk about that. And I was going to bring it on stream today, but I'll bring it on that stream. So tune in for that.
That's fitting though, because he is Pulse X Maxi.
Yeah, why not? I mean, people got a niche down as well, right? Like there's a niche
Yeah.
within a niche within a niche. It sounds like Inception, but it's
Yeah.
one of those things, right? Sloth is your Hedron guy. And,
you got Hedron and Icosa questions? You know where you're going.
100%. So guys, go check it out. And you guys have got a show. Is it Thursday that you said? Wednesday, Thursday?
What's that?
Your next show? Your next show?
We stream Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock PST, 10 MST. That's right. Yeah, yes. At 12 o'clock EST. Yeah, Monday through Friday. So we'll be on tomorrow. I can't remember who's on tomorrow with this on stream. But we have somebody on. And then Wednesday's identity block. And I think we have Walrus next week. Yeah.
Tomorrow's Crypto Kong. If you want to get all excited about passive income through Icosa, see how you could really impact your life. I know there are a number of questions about passive income in the chat today. If you want to see how you could really set your passive income on fire, absolute fire with Icosa, come and tune in tomorrow. That's going to be a blast. He's got some moon math. He's got an excellent spreadsheet.
We all love a little moon math.
Yeah, it's going to be fun tomorrow.
It's great to have you all in the chat. We got like 73, 74 people watching live, so it's awesome, guys. And
guys, like and subscribe on all the channels. Let's go.
100%. Appreciate it, guys. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. God bless. Take care.